All right, now 3 o'clock chat here. What's up, my friends? From the NBA, Jonathan Isaac and the Magic have agreed to a 5-year, $84 million deal. Pacers have signed Warriors' former number 2 pick, James Wiseman. Michael Thompson says he tried to sell his son Clay on the Lakers before he decided on the Dallas Mavericks. And Kemba Walker is calling it a career. The Mariners open action today, just 3 games up on the Astros in the West. Houston has won 3 straight, 9 of their last 10, while Seattle is just 3-8 over their last 11, and they've dropped back-to-back games. They open up a series tonight at T-Mobile Park against the Orioles. First pitch at 6:40. George Kirby takes the mound for Seattle. Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad's coming up next. We have a 4-pack of tickets for the Hops to give away at 4 and a pair of tickets for Hairfest at 5. Colin Amos joins us in studio at 4:20.
The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad, presented by Lazy Boy. What is your strategy for comfort?
Yeah, everything's just been surreal. Extremely, grateful for everything that JJ and Rob have given to me. Yeah, and I've just been extremely excited to get to work.
I can never see myself, not with those two guys. I understand this league changes and there's so many things that go into it, and we're not going to play forever.
Overall, I think being aggressive on grass is very crucial.
And I found out there's a few little things I need to sharpen up, Chad.
I blame Puppy Shots for this unfortunate situation.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad starts now.
What's going on, Godfather? Good to see you, my friend.
Well, it's so nice to be here, Chad. Much better be in here today than be outside. It's too hot today. It's just too hot.
Oh, man, it was so nice out on the golf course this morning. Was back out at Forest Hills. Had a chance to play with a couple of buddies of mine, Josh and Alex. I love that place so much. And what is really cool, I'm a big fan of local businesses.
Yeah.
Because of what they bring to the community and what they mean. And a lot of these provide great places for families or people to hang out. In this case, a golf course. We can get out and get a chance to play golf. But Marcus out there, the guy who owns and operates the golf course, he's not like an owner that stops by occasionally to check in and, pull some money for the till.
Yeah.
This guy is out there working his ass off. And I saw him on the turn, and we had a chance to talk for a while, which was really nice. And then when I showed up at the par 3, number 17, he was out there doing hardcore manual labor, like really getting down to the nitty-gritty titty on all the details of the course because they're doing a ton of work. And I just respect the heck out of that when I see the decision maker who's out there willing to do whatever it is he asks any one of his employees to do. I think they respect it, but it's so much fun to see, man. And for a place to be around since 1927, family-run business, I'm down with those type of places.
I had a chance to meet him when we did that show out there last year, and I could tell right away this guy's sharp, and the feeling of pride that he has in that golf course, with every good reason to have pride because he's built the darn thing, and that's amazing to me that an owner would get out there in the dirt and be making changes and improving the course. So much to be proud of, and like you say, Chad, that's the very definition of a local business.
I love it.
That's amazing.
I think the other reason why I'm in a good mood, and probably you're the same way, is that we have a short week this week because of the 4th of July.
Yeah.
I love it when holidays fall right around a Thursday, which means there's a good chance you might get an extra day off. So a bonus day equals a 4-day weekend for all of us, and that means a lot of sunshine and a lot of golf.
Yeah, I think we're going to play a little golf. You're going to play a lot of golf on the 4th of July. I know that.
I may not survive. It's going to be hot that day, and I'm already trying to figure out how I'm going to stay hydrated between the 18 holes in the morning, and your wife emailed me the confirmation for the afternoon tee time at the Willamette Valley Country Club, which I'm very happy to accept. So I'm going to cruise straight from Forest Hills right over to Willamette Valley.
We'll be waiting on the first tee for you.
The good thing is I shouldn't need too much time to warm up. I'll just be busy chugging fluids between the drive from Forest Hills over to Willamette Valley. But it is warm out there. And by the way, day number 2 of my white ankles being out in the sun.
How did they do?
They did just fine, but I've not noticed any change in skin tone. But what I'm going to do now is track it. So we're here at the beginning of July of 2024.
No,
I just want to know how long it's going to take before the white part of my ankles that have been under socks for 40 years will take to catch up with the rest of my body so I don't have such a hideous golfers/farmers tan going on down there.
I was just afraid when you said that you were going to start putting your foot up there every day for the camera to analyze it. I mean, it is good TV. I mean, YouTubers loved it, I think. But I got one thing to ask you before we go any further.
Oh, yeah.
4th of July, we mentioned it. Last night, about 8 o'clock, we're watching some television. Nancy and I are watching the great show, The Bear, on Hulu, I think it is. One firecracker goes off in the neighborhood. Our dog dropped the bone, ran to the couch, and jumped up between us on the couch, shivering.
Yeah.
I mean, he does not like the firecrackers.
No, in fact, what I'm going to do after I'm done playing golf with you on 4th of July, I'm going to go home and I'm just going to spend time with Puppy. I'll hang out with him. I'll be close to him because in his little mind, and keep in mind, he's a wiener dog, full of love, and he's an awesome friend. He's my best friend, and I adore him. But I also understand that he's got butterflies that are floating around in his brain.
Mm-hmm.
Not the smartest dog on the planet, but I saw again last night, there were a couple of fireworks that went off. I really do believe that animals feel like fireworks are the sign of Armageddon,
Mm-hmm.
like the end is near. They don't know what to do, and it drives them crazy because they're hearing things on a level that we can't comprehend.
And they survive most of their life on instinct.
Yes.
Instinct, things that are going on, sounds, smells that tell them certain things.
Yes.
When they hear a sound like that, that's like the roof's caving in. Anything, they're scared.
Yeah, and so I'm going to be with him because I know it freaks him out. But I did get him, I call it puppy marijuana, but I got him last year I got some like puppy CBD oil that you put in a dropper, and then I just squirt it right down his pie hole, and it helps him relax. And he sleeps pretty well, so I'm going to give him a high dosage of pot and then let him relax a little bit, and
Those
I think that will
dreams.
help him. Yeah.
He must be having crazy dreams.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of loud noises, I mentioned they were doing a lot of work out there at Forest Hills. Finally got to see it today. I've never seen it done. I think I was on the par 4, hole number 5, which is a dogleg left and it goes uphill. On the left side, probably about 150 yards up from the tee box, there was this gigantic old tree that needed to come down because it was dying, and they probably wanted to make sure that they got it down safely before it just fell in the middle of the fairway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these dudes, like right when we were getting ready to tee off, this gigantic operating truck drives up on the side of the fairway and parks in between the trees. And we're like, what in the world's going on? And before you know it, they stringed up a line, and they had the guy down below with the chainsaw. And we're able to tee off and get up towards the green. And then we look back, and all of a sudden, this gigantic tree comes tumbling down. And the sound that it makes when it's ripping apart and then slams into the ground, it's one of the coolest things ever. Like, there's still a part of me that exists from when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Anything that can blow up, explosives, big trees coming down, there's just something about it that's awesome. And to be able to see that and hear that up close and personal, I was like, whoa, that's a gigantic tree. That thing's been around forever. But a big old fatty, man, just came tumbling down. And then before you know it, those guys had it loaded up and hauled away.
As soon as you find out, though, that they're out there with a little box and the plunger on top, and the guy's going to push it down and then something's going to blow up, give me a call. I want to see that.
Gosh.
That's like a Roadrunner cartoon. I've never seen something like that in person, and I would love to.
How badly, because of the cartoons, especially with the Roadrunner, I've always wanted to be the guy. Just one time in my life, given the sign by whoever's in charge, in that little box with the handle on top of it, to pull it up and then plunge it down and exploit a bunch of dynamite. Like, how fun would that be? Like, if you're blowing out a mine or whatever the case may be, I'll blow up anything. Just let me push down the handle that ignites the dynamite.
I'll let you push the handle down because I don't care. I just want to see the end result. I want to see something just blow sky high. I've never really seen that.
Do you think that box does anything, or is it like the beam down in Sacramento where you try to tell me that the plunger that the fans or the players push doesn't do it? It's some dude in some back room with a bunch of buttons everywhere that's actually controlling the beam.
There's a little man inside that box, and he's just there's like a light switch, and he just pushes it down.
There's a little guy inside the box, and he knows
that's
when you
what
push the plunger down that it's time to ignite the dynamite.
Yeah, just hit that little light switch.
Yeah. I would like to see that, though. Like, you see it in Hollywood all the time. Like, it'd be nice to be on set to see how they do those explosions.
Well, I've seen it in film and TV so many times, but never in person. I've never seen anything. And I should have gone up to Seattle when they imploded the Kingdome. I think that would have been fun.
That
to
video
watch.
is incredible. I pull it
Yeah.
up every once in a while just to watch it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
How can they implode a building and it falls on top of each other perfectly? Isn't that amazing how they can do that?
Somebody's pretty smart. Yeah. How many things did he have to blow up before he got that right? That took a little bit of practice, I think.
Little trial and error, maybe?
Yeah.
Dude, that was one of those buildings where, like, I have a lot of great memories in the Kingdome from growing up
Sure.
from a
Me too.
kid all the way up until I was older.
Mhm.
But even I admitted that that bad boy had to go.
Oh, God.
A gigantic cement block in the middle of the city, like right at the end of the city skyline. You've got, like, what is that? Oh, it's the Kingdome.
I used to tell people it's like sitting inside a cement mixer, only louder. It was so loud in there when you had it packed. Oh, my goodness.
I still have chills. The first game I went to, this is the best. I had my best friend, Jeff Daly. His dad had season tickets for the Seahawks. And for his birthday, he had asked for tickets, Bronco tickets, so he and I could go up together. And we were only freshmen in high school, so we're both 14. And I don't know how our moms let us do this, but they got us train tickets on the Amtrak.
Yeah.
And they dropped us off at the train station. And he and I together, just the two of us, got to jump on the train and ride up to the game. And you get off right at King Station next to the Kingdome. And we walked over, watched the game, and rode back on the train. But being inside the Kingdome back in the heyday of the AFC West, when they had the Elway chant going, and I'm in there as a 14-year-old wearing my Broncos starter jacket, thinking this is the greatest thing ever, surrounded by Seahawks fans, so loud with the sound bouncing off the cement walls.
Yeah.
You felt like it was engulfing you. I felt like puppy shots last night when the fireworks started going off. It's loud. That's the one redeeming quality that the building had. Outside of that, the concourse was too small. It looked hideous inside.
Oh, yeah.
It was rough.
It was an eyesore. No
and
question.
for some reason, I don't like bleacher seats. And depending on what stadium you go to, for some reason, you ever notice how when you sit on a bleacher past about 30 to 45 minutes, your butt itches?
Oh, gosh.
Why does it make your butt itch? What is it about that seat that makes your butt itch? I don't like it. Not a fan. I prefer the actual seats. That's my own seat. And the bleacher seat's tough because someone who's different sizes will sit next to you and they end up taking part of your seat. I don't like the bleacher seat. I'm not down. I'm not down. And I don't know why that type of metal makes your booty itch the way it does, but it does. And they had that at the Kingdome. That's all I'm saying.
I saw some amazing
You're
stuff
not down
there.
with bleachers, are you?
No.
Of course not.
Hate those wooden seats. Oh, my gosh. You got to take a cushion with you. You can't survive.
No.
You cannot survive
It's
without
painful.
it.
Oh, they also had Peanut Man, who would throw behind the back,
Big
and
time.
we love him.
Peanut Man, great.
Greatest peanut vendor of all time.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep things rolling here on the show. We're going to come back, and we'll give you a quick breakdown on the second apron, Godfather. It's going to cause a lot of problems for teams who are paying out a lot of money in salary.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for teams like Boston to stay together for too long because the penalties are extreme.
Probably pretty good for a small market like Portland, though. Probably a good rule.
And then after we give you a quick breakdown on that, we're going to talk about Klay Thompson, the real reason why he's in Dallas with the Mavericks. And then we'll hear from his dad, Michael Thompson, one of the godfathers of sports talk in Portland. He works for the Lakers. He's a radio analyst, and I guess he tried to sell him on the Lakers. So we'll hear from Michael Thompson as well. That's Dwight. I'm Chad. We're going to be joined by Cullen Amos. He'll answer all of your questions coming up at 4:20. she can. I like Steve Winwood a lot, Godfather. I was listening to him on the way in, and then boom, Shacker plays Valerie. I've never seen him in concert. I would like to.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. I thought I maybe saw him open for somebody, but no, I didn't.
He went through a stretch in the 80s where he was white hot. Those artists hit that little stream where everything they put out for like a 2 or 3 year stretch is nothing but a hit. He's a
Bruce
stud.
Hornsby was similar to
I
that.
love Bruce Hornsby. I think he
too.
had a son that went to the University of Oregon.
Oh, really?
I'm a big fan of Bruce Hornsby. He's great. His piano style, I hear it right away. I'm
Oh.
like, that's Bruce.
Distinct.
Signature sound.
Yeah.
All right, Rip City Drive. We'll get to Klay Thompson, Michael Thompson here in just a moment. But, you know, with the new year, we have a new CBA that's in place. And with that brings a different setup with the CBA in terms of what teams can and cannot do. So check this out, Godfather. And this is a great piece from The Ringer. But in regards to what teams are going to see, teams that exceed $190 million in players' salaries, roughly $50 million above the estimated salary cap, will forfeit most of the tools they use to add talent. It's a long and complicated list of restrictions. They're going to be prohibited from acquiring players in sign-and-trade deals or from using their own free agents in a sign-and-trade. They won't be allowed to aggregate multiple players to send out in a trade. They can make one-for-one trades only if they take back the same or less salary, but not a single penny more than what they send out. And they lose the use of existing trade exceptions. They're banned from including cash in any trade, and they can't buy draft picks. So the minimum team salary, the floor is $127 million. The salary cap number is $141 million. The tax level is at $172, Godfather. First apron is at $179, and then the second apron is at $190 million. And in that second apron, all first apron restrictions, which include no sign-in trades, no trade exceptions, no taking money back in trades, in addition to no aggregating contracts and trades, no trading cash, limited sign-in trade rules, 2032 first frozen if you finish above the second apron. So there you go. That's a lot of penalty for these teams that are going to be in a position where they're going to be paying out big type of money. Now, if you're wondering which teams right now are in a position to be impacted the most, Phoenix, Golden State, the LA Clippers, Milwaukee, Minnesota, and Boston, and not far behind who are close to going over that second apron, Knicks, Nuggets, Lakers, Heat. Those teams are close.
I saw a post today with all the contract extensions given out just a few days ago. Boston's starting lineup is about $200 million. The starting lineup is above the second apron.
Yeah.
So, and all these fans for years have been saying, well, we got a rich owner. Just pay the tax. Well, it's not as easy as that anymore. You can pay the tax and go over, but whatever you have when you do that, you're stuck with that team. There's really no way out. That's what Phoenix is experiencing right now. They have 3 quality players, at least they used to be quality players. They can't get any help for them. It's nothing but minimum salary guys going on to that team right now.
In this piece from The Ringer, it says some of the wealthiest owners, including Clippers owner Steve Ballmer, who is the richest in the league, also the reddest face in the league, also the craziest, and he has more toilets than anybody else. He goes on to say that they don't mind paying tens or even hundreds of millions in luxury taxes if it means a chance to win a title. But those same owners and their GMs surely will mind losing all the tools to keep adding talent. And if a team can't contend for titles, it is far more likely that team will also rein in its spending, which also furthers the league's aims. So what's the point of paying heavy tax if your team has no chance to compete for a championship? It makes no sense whatsoever. The reason why Boston is willing to lay out all this cash right now is because they're in this little window of opportunity to win a championship. You got to capitalize on that.
Right. And they've got their championship team right now. They're the one team that probably doesn't need to add anything. You know, they're fine. They're good. Even their bench is good. Just leave it alone and cop a couple more championships, and then you're going to have to do something about it. The new owners, whoever buys that team, at some point is going to have to do something about this. But for right now, we're good, you know. But it does keep the playing field level. And it also helps the small market teams stay competitive because you just can't now go out and buy a championship. Can't do it anymore.
No, and I think what the NBA is trying to create, and it's working, they want parity. They
Yeah.
want what the NFL has. What they don't want is the same one or two teams over the course of a decade winning the championship. What do we got now? 6 straight years of different teams winning
Yeah.
titles?
Yeah.
Well, they're accomplishing their mission, and it goes on to say here in the Ringer, concerns over prolificate spending and competitive balance go back to at least 4 decades to the creation of the NBA's original salary cap in the early 80s, but the league has always had a so-called soft cap, allowing teams to exceed the limit by using a variety of exceptions, the Bird exception, the mid-level exception, the biannual, etc. So teams keep spending, some more widely than others, and the league keeps inventing new ways to restrict them, employing everything short of an actual hard cap, which the players' union adamantly opposes. So really, the NBA is getting the desired result. They want parity. They don't want dynasties, and we're starting to get that. And I do believe, Godfather, that the league being filled with parity is a good thing. Having different teams win championships. I know that dynasties are great for television ratings and great for sports talk, but I think what's good for a league is when you feel, no matter what fan base you are, that you have a chance or an opportunity to win a title. That means everything.
I totally agree because we know that desperate feeling when you know Golden State is in our conference.
Yeah.
We're not getting to the
Oh,
finals.
great.
Every
Shaq and
Blazer-
Kobe are going to win it.
Yeah, every Blazer fan lived with that for a long time, whether it was the Lakers or Golden State or, yeah, we can get to the finals, but Chicago's going to beat us every time. Those days are pretty much gone now. We're not going to see that. And I agree, though. I think dynasties probably sell tickets. They probably bring bigger TV ratings. But long run, best for the league, let everybody win once in a while.
Yeah, because I believe, and I could be wrong here, but the way I see it is that if you have a league set up to where you've got 30 teams and you only have 3 or 4 or 5 fan bases that truly believe that they have a chance to win a title, I think over the course of time, fan engagement will lessen.
Absolutely.
But with more parity, where you believe that you've got a chance or an opportunity to go out and compete because the restrictions have limited the big markets from being able to control everything, then I think it creates more engagement, more fan interest, and I think it's good for the overall health of the league. I do believe that.
Yeah, and I think people developing and building teams now need to understand, too, no more super teams. You're not going to be able to get 3 guys in at superstar, super max contracts. You're not going to be able to do it with 3. You probably can fit 2 guys in there,
Yeah.
but no longer 3.
But this is good because it will prevent, the unsavory act of players trying to form super teams
Right.
in different markets. Now it's going to be very difficult for you to do that. And if you do form a team like that, it will be difficult for you to keep it together for an extended period of time because of the extreme penalty. I don't care how rich the owner is. When you start getting a tax bill of $500 to $600 million, billionaires are not going to be careless with their money like that. To give it away for what?
Paul Allen would have hated this.
Yeah.
He would have just hated this. He is the one owner that last time they had the vote on any kind of cap. He didn't want any salary cap at all.
No, because he was willing to spend whatever it took to win.
That's right. He was ready to buy a championship. And he tried there for a while.
All right. So that's where we're at with the NBA. Something to keep an eye on as we move forward. And the Celtics, the clock is ticking. Very critical for them to capitalize on the opportunity now because new ownership group coming in, high tax penalties ahead. They may not be able to keep that group together much longer. Very interesting. Okay, Klay Thompson is now going to be with the Dallas Mavericks. That 3-team deal with Charlotte, Golden State, and Dallas went down. Klay got 3 years and $50 million to go play for the Mavericks. The Golden State Warriors get a couple of second-round picks back from Dallas. But, the real story in regards to Klay Thompson, some Warrior fans have been very critical, saying that he's, focusing on money, being a money whore, and just running for the money, especially after the way the Warriors took care of him over the last couple of years when he was dealing with injuries and didn't have a good year last year. But as you come to find out that maybe this wasn't so much about money, Godfather, this might have been about respect and the way that he felt like the Warriors disrespected him, and especially for a guy who was a key part of the 4 championship run, a very proud player, and someone that respect matters a great deal to him. So it sounds like he was looking to get elsewhere because he wanted more playing time. and to hopefully get more respect.
Yeah, it was personal pride, I think. He felt that he was as responsible as anybody for those championships. He was a key part, and he was. There's no question about that. He didn't get taken care of like the other ones did. Really, he sat back and watched Draymond get his big deal, and of course, Steph was always taken care of, and they gave Wiggins a pretty good deal. And he always felt he didn't get taken care of. Then when they started talking about benching him for a young player, that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
It was. It was a straw that broke the camel's back. And I'll say this about Clay. I don't think he's as good as Steph Curry, but Klay Thompson is the one player who allowed Steph to be Steph, meaning Klay Thompson was, at his peak, a phenomenal two-way player and a great on-ball defender. Steph Curry's not a good defender. Steph Curry's a liability on defense, but he's surrounded by the right players who can protect him on that end of the floor. And Klay Thompson was the guy who freed him up because defensively he was so sound.
Well, Clay was their Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
That's really what it amounted to. He defended. He covered for Steph defensively a little bit, hit the open shot when he had it. He was the glue that kind of held them together defensively. And people forget, yeah, they were great offensively. They were great defensively, too, when they're in the midst of those titles.
And, Godfather, I actually believe that Klay Thompson, because of the injuries, might be closer to washed than he is having a bounce-back year.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't really begrudge a guy if he wants to go elsewhere because he doesn't want to ride the bench and he wants to have a chance to start and he wants to get more playing time. I can't fault the guy for that.
Well, he wants to win, too, and they're not going to win in Golden State. He's got a chance to go all the way with Dallas. And I don't blame him for wanting to win. And he could have had more money from Golden State than what he took in Dallas.
That's true, too. Michael Thompson, former Laker, went back-to-back with the Lakers and one of the godfathers of Portland sports talk radio. He's been a radio icon down in L.A. now, and he does their analyst work on the broadcast. He does a heck of a job.
Both of us, too.
He's a good
must
guy.
Say that, yeah.
He is. I love Michael Thompson. Always will. Good guy. And I think he's a good father, good family man. And, I've seen him behind the scenes at Warrior games where he's not one of those dads who's trying to get the attention. He's there to support his kids, but he doesn't want the spotlight, or he doesn't try to take any of the shine away from his son.
Right.
And I respect that. I know how he's operating, which is cool. But he was doing a little radio, and he was talking about Clay's choice of Dallas instead of the Lakers. And the Lakers wanted him, and Thompson's a Laker. So let's see what he had to say about that.
Yeah, hold your congratulations, Frank, and Scal. I'm not too feeling too much in a congratulatory mood right now. Because obviously it's Clay's decision, it's his life. He's a grown man, 34 years of age, just like we were 34 at one time. Scal, Frank, and our father used to give us advice, and we would go choose our own path, and that's fine. That's what life is supposed to be about. But I'm really disappointed. I was hoping, as you can assess, that he would be a Laker, and it was close. It came down to the Lakers and the Mavs, but the Mavs won out. But me, I was hoping and praying he'd finish his career with the Lakers.
How close was it, and how involved did you get in trying to connect that?
When he told me that the Lakers were talking to him and or going to talk to him, and the Mavs too, obviously I tried to sell playing for the Lakers. Obviously that's the right thing for me to do and the proper thing for me to do, and I felt like it was the correct thing for me to do because I really believe in this franchise. The franchise has been so good to me and my family, including Clay. He grew up a Laker fan. He grew up idolizing Kobe Bryant like most players his age, most kids his age. So I just thought it seemed like to be the perfect fit for him to finally come back home because we always talked about him playing for the Lakers if he was not a Golden State Warrior. Where else would he want to play? And, of course, being a fan of Kobe's, he would have loved to have played for the Lakers, but he had a chance, and when the chance came, he chose the Mavericks instead. And I'll live with it. I accept it, and I'm happy for him that he's happy with his decision. But, yeah, of course, I tried to sell him on the Lakers.
There you go. There's Michael Thompson. I like that Godfather where he stepped out of the way and let Clay have his own choice.
Yeah.
But I think he was hoping it would have been cool for him to see Clay in a Laker jersey, and Clay did grow up a Laker fan, big Kobe fan.
Went to high school down there in SoCal, and most of his family's down there now. So I think that would have been a nice choice for him. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if just that state tax in California was the clinching decision there. That's, he's not making as much money as he made at Golden State, and that's a lot of money to give back just to go play for the Lakers. And not know whether you're going to be in the play-in or what's going to go on down there.
All right. So what is that? About $17 million a year. Is that what he's getting?
Yeah.
Let's just do a little quick math here, Godfather. $17 million times, what, 13.3%? 2.26 mil.
To play in Southern California.
So he's getting an
And
extra
that's just the
$2.5 million.
That's just the state tax.
That's
yeah.
just the state tax.
Which there is none in Texas.
That's correct. So you get an instant raise by moving to a state with no state tax. And the cost of living, the setup, a lot of people are moving to these states that don't have state income tax. It's not a
Yeah.
bad gig.
Yeah, there are a lot of people. doing that.
Oregon's state income tax is not exactly friendly either, I might add. What is it, about 10%? Oh, by the way, I drove by the Oregon Department of Revenue building the other day. I had never done that. I drove by it and I was like, ugh. I just felt gross driving by it.
Yeah, it can make you a little bit ill. Yeah. By the way, trade just went down. Golden State used the trade exception they got with Clay
Mhm.
signing or in the sign and trade to Dallas. They used it with Minnesota on Kyle Anderson. They're bringing Kyle Anderson in. Was the guy we talked about, I think, yesterday as one of the few remaining.
Laker
Guy-
options.
Yeah, he was a sign and trade.
I like Kyle Anderson. He's
Mhm.
a good utility player. He's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. You can plug him in,
Mhm.
and he can do many different things
Smart
for you.
player, I think.
Yeah, he's no dum-dum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good ad for
It's-
Golden State.
Subtract one more useful free agent from that list that the Lakers are working off of. You know what? They're going to get down to that point where, you know what? Jeremy Grant's going to look real good to them at some point.
Well, this is the beautiful part by them being so capped out. They don't have, like we said, the best they could possibly do with some work with LeBron's contract and some other pieces on their roster would be to have access to that full mid-level exception. But that only gets you about $12.8 million. Well, that's not going to net you the type of player they're looking for. The Lakers need to do a trade type situation. They need a trade. They need a third team involved. And so I'm hoping now that fewer players are available because now they're down to what? Jeremy Grant or DeMar DeRozan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that the pressure will build, and then all of a sudden the Blazers enter into the picture from a position of strength. Because if they can go in and squeeze out those 2 draft picks from the Lakers in a Grant deal, I'm all about that. Or if you don't want to give up that much future capital, throw in Connect. We can take a shooter here.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a young player and a pick.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm all about Joe Cronin. If he can bend the Lakers over, then go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stick it to LeBron and the Lakers.
Mhm.
And if Klay Thompson did deny Bron's phone call, then
All the better, right?
all the better.
You like him even more.
Yeah. And I hate LeBron more because he got between you and I yesterday. LeBron's trying to break up our friendship. That really ticks me off, man.
I'll just write that down. One more thing. One more thing for you to hate LeBron. There's a long list of things.
It's a
there,
long
too.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that stuff where they talked about his school in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Did I send you that?
Yeah. It's not exactly doing.
Lowest rated math scores in the state of Ohio.
That's the same guy that built a museum for himself, too.
Yeah. Wonder how that's doing.
What, the museum?
The museum. Yeah, it's probably not all that crowded right
Don't
now.
ask one of LeBron's crew. You won't get a straight story.
Yeah, that's for sure. Or him. You won't get anything straight out of him either. He's been known to tell a few.
I bet when
Tall
you
tales.
first walk in, like right through the front doors of the LeBron Museum, I bet there's a side-by-side comparison of him and MJ and
Oh,
why
yeah.
he's the best player of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah. I just wonder if the crown is there.
Written
too.
by Nick Wright and all the other toolboxes who are like
Yeah.
mouthpieces for Bron.
Yeah, I want to see the crown, though. He is the king, and I just wondering if he leaves the crown there, right behind the throne or sitting on the throne or something.
How much does that irritate you when he tries to put on the fake crown during games?
I just think it's hilarious to see a grown man doing something like that. That's something a little kid would do.
Yeah, if you do that, you're a douche canoe.
Oh,
No offense, LeBron.
douche.
No offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's jumped the shark, man. Hey, dude, settle down, Bron. All right, when we come back, we're going to give you some more details on which teams have maybe been the winners so far in NBA free agency. All right, Godfather, you brought this story up to me, but we got to touch on it because it's pretty unbelievable. But Howard Eskin, who has been a longtime radio stud in Philadelphia, he's big time.
Yeah, talk show host.
Big time talk show host. According to information released on Tuesday, longtime Philadelphia area sports radio legend Howard Eskin has been banned from Citizens Bank Ballpark for the rest of the season. According to sources, an Aramark employee accused the 73-year-old Eskin of giving her an unwanted kiss at the ballpark, which resulted in an investigation. A spokesperson for Odyssey, the parent company of WIP, and Eskin's employer confirmed the unwelcome kiss in a statement, adding the company takes these matters very seriously. Eskin was reportedly sitting the exclusive area behind home plate when the incident happened. The story also says that Odyssey is the one who initiated the idea of the ban. So there you go. Unwanted kiss. At first, the story was reported as an unwanted advance.
Yes.
And the unwanted advance is always a funny thing to me because it's like, how many advances are
Right.
wanted, right?
Yeah, right. By nature, an advance is probably, I think, a violation of your personal space.
I'm curious, too, like throughout the course of a lady's life, how many unwanted advances do they have to deflect over the course of time? It's probably numerous. That would be my guess. But how does an unwelcome kiss, how do you kiss someone? I mean, that's a pretty bold approach, right?
Ooh. Yeah.
Was it a peck? Was it the cheek? Or did you just go straight in for the lips?
I think it has to be the lips, probably. I would guess that. It's kind of interesting to me. The radio station, they're okay with him being banned from the ballpark, but he's probably going to be on that show of his tomorrow, and the numbers for that show are going to be pretty darn good.
They may not admit it publicly, but my guess would be his boss is not too unhappy about the news that his host has been banned from the ballpark for the entire season for an unwanted kiss.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get the details on that one. I'm trying to think here. I do have some friends. Like, it's weird. Like, I have some acquaintances and friends. Like, you give, like, the friendly kiss, but it's not really a kiss. It's like a peck on the side of the cheek or whatever. I never know what to do in these type of social situations, Godfather, so I just go with it. But, like, you know, sometimes a lady will come in and give you, like, a kiss on the cheek.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do about it?
I didn't ask for it. I mean, is that
Yeah.
technically an unwanted kiss?
It's in advance.
It's in advance. But I always go through with it. I don't care.
Yeah, so it's not unwanted.
No, at this point in my life, anything I get is wanted.
Yeah, in fact, it's appreciated.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not going to turn down a kiss and advance anything. I want it all.
Yeah, bring it, right?
But I'm trying to think if I ever, like, that'd be a pretty aggressive maneuver. Like, I can't, like, I have gone in for the kiss before, and apparently it was unwanted because it was, you get the pullback, which is an unfortunate experience.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
What are you doing? Well, I thought,
Yeah.
well, you thought wrong.
Yeah. I thought you were giving me some sign, some indication. Were you not encouraging something like that?
I have. I've gotten my signals mixed up. Well, I thought. Well, no, I didn't think that. I don't know what you were thinking, but that was wrong. My bad.
Put
Oops.
on a pitch comm because you're not getting the signals correct here, pal.
Oh, my goodness. It's too much. But, like, what?
Well, and I'm not, I mean, we're not making light of him doing that. It's just the whole scenario, the whole situation. is
No, but
kind of
I
wacky.
am making light of him doing that.
Okay.
Because if he's sitting in that area back there behind home plate, I'm
Uh-huh.
assuming this was someone who was serving the area.
Yeah, you would think.
Probably a server, right?
Mhm. So he did this right out there in front of people, I guess.
Well, we're going to have to wait to get the details. I would
Yeah.
imagine, hopefully, he won't be given the kibosh on discussing the matters on air. That's a real shame, man. A lot of times radio bosses, they're like, yeah, don't talk about that. But
We
the
never
best
did.
things that you want to talk about are the things that your boss doesn't want you to talk about sometimes. I hate those days.
We don't get that ban here very often.
We have, though, recently.
Well, yeah, I know. I know. But
I asked him, too. I said,
that
can
was
we
a bre-
talk about
That was
that?
a breaking news story that will forever be covered up.
And we don't get to talk about it.
I know.
I
Yeah.
asked him, I was like, can we talk about that? He's like, I wouldn't talk about that. But why not? He's like, man, it's like, it's so good. I
Because
want
it
to
might
talk
get you
about it.
fired is a good reason.
Yeah, that's possible too. All right. Well, anyways, there you go. An unwanted advance. That's my favorite, though. What advance is wanted? If there's a female listening right now, please call in 503-248-0620. Explain the difference between a wanted and an unwanted advance. My guess is most advances are unwanted, but some guys are just persistent enough to be able to overcome the series of unwanted advances that they throw out there. I don't know.
That used to be the thing. And remember those movies where they show the hero giving the woman a kiss, and she didn't really want it. She's kind of fighting him off, but the kiss prolongs, and pretty soon she's kissing him back. You used to see that scene a lot, and now you don't see that anymore because it's not real life.
All right, Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. Dang it. Unwanted advance took up the entire segment.
Howard.
That's better than NBA free agency. I don't think I've ever given an advance to a female that was wanted. If I had to take a guess, I'm 0 for 100 or whatever the number is.
Well, I guess I got to kiss him. I'll have to kiss him, I guess, just to get rid of him.
Yeah, I just thought of another situation where I'm like, what are you doing? What do you think I'm doing?
By pushing you away, right?
Yeah, the old pullback where you go in for something and it's like they pull back.
And they're saying, ooh.
And I've been on the recipient. I've been the receiver of unwanted advance too. When I got the helicopter tongue and the bad breath, that was scary.
Yeah.
It's like, what is your tongue doing right now? I didn't ask her that, but I was like, what's your tongue doing? And why is it doing that in my mouth? There's things in life I don't understand. That was one of the times.
Don't expect me to explain it to you.
And why does your mouth taste like that?
Oh, God.
I mean, seriously, what's up with that? Oh, well. These are the questions in life that are never going to be solved, Godfather. The helicopter tongue was wild, though. I was like, whoa. What are we in, third grade? All right, Rip City Drive, Dwight and Chad. We do have a Bo Nix update coming up at 5:20, and I'm excited because it involves Kyle Whittingham. I'm not sure how he got involved in that, but he did. When we come back, we'll talk about Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I'm in love with him, and I'll tell you what, people are undervaluing the Chargers because Jim Harbaugh is a badass, and we're going to give away a 4-pack of tickets for the Hops, but you have to promise not to give out any unwanted advances. All right, 4 o'clock chat here. What's up, my friends? Hope you're enjoying this fabulous Tuesday. From the NBA, Jonathan Isaac and the Magic have agreed to a 5-year, $84 million deal. The Pacers have signed James Wiseman. Michael Thompson says he tried to sell his son Clay on the Lakers before he decided on Dallas. Kemba Walker calling it a career. The Mariners open action today, just 3 games up on the Astros in the West. Houston on fire. They've won 3 straight, 9 of 10. Seattle is ice cold. They are just 3-8 over their last 11 games. The M's open up a series tonight against one of the best teams in baseball, the Orioles, at T-Mobile Park. First pitch at 6:40. George Kirby will be on the bump for the M's. Got more of the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Shaq coming at you right now. Our good friend Colin Amos is going to stop by at 4:20. And we have a 4-pack of tickets for the Hops to give away coming up next. Down, 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 down. Da 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 da. This is a good song. I was watching another YouTube video the other night. I can't remember the name of this song, but it's one of the most streamed songs of all time.
Really?
Highly popular, yeah.
Huh.
That was from, it was another Rick Beato video. I have been stuck in YouTube mode so much lately, it's been unbelievable. But you know what I've been doing, Godfather? I've been listening to the, Yacht Rock deep cuts.
Yeah.
And I come across songs that I have never heard before, and that happened the other day. And so I Shazam them, and then I go home and add them into my YouTube mix. It's a beautiful thing. I'm discovering there is nothing better, and I don't care when the freaking song came out, but discovering a song that you've never heard before, that's basically like a brand new song.
Mm-hmm.
And I add that to the mix, and I'm like, man, how did I not know that that song existed? And then I'm able to listen to it. So it's been great. I came across a Seals and Crofts song last night I never heard before. Fabulous. Jay Graydon put out an album I had no idea about, so I discovered some songs. He worked with Bill Champlin from Chicago. He's no longer with Chicago, but was. And then Joseph Williams, who was the frontman for Toto for years and once again is back with them. So I just love that, man. I love discovering new music I've never heard before.
How much time a night do you spend on YouTube? Yeah, give me an honest answer, seriously.
2 to 4 hours.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Of course, who am I to criticize? I spend that much watching baseball games. So
It's basically, for me, it's like mental masturbation, to be honest with you. I just love YouTube because what I do at night, I can't go right to sleep. I don't go to bed early. I just can't do it. So I've got a series of events that have to take place before I can go to bed. And it's usually involving children. I've got a furry son, Puppy Shots. He's a pain in the ass, and I have to go through a whole bunch of obstacles to feed him because he's not a normal dog.
Right.
I've got to take care of my kids, which involves me driving them all over the place now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to feed myself, and then I got to get everything ready for the next day because I'm getting to the point now where I forget things if I don't go through my process. I got too much going on, and so I forget things all the time. It sucks.
You are a guy that sticks to your routines, though.
Yes, but when my routine gets thrown off or I'm doing something different, like, for instance, this week I've been, getting up early and driving out to the other side of town to go to Forest Hills. That is against the grain for me. So I have to think it through or I'm going to forget something. Like, for instance, my earbuds. I got up, Puppy Shots was lying on top of them. I didn't go through my normal routine, and I ended up having to put up over-the-ear headphones the other day. That sucked. So what I like to do at night after everyone's fed, taken care of, and Puppy Shots is set, I love to unwind before I go to sleep. I start out on YouTube. Usually starts with a old Bronco game or John Elway highlight or something. And then it transitions into a Larry Bird or Michael Jordan highlight lately. And then it goes to music.
Yeah.
And then that goes into interviews of the musician. And then I'll get queued up for some type of interview with a movie star or whatever the case may be. But I've been digging into all sorts of areas, and because I don't want to just hear the song, I want to know the story behind the song. Who made it? who was original crew that made the album, and I'm looking to dig up those type of details. That's what I'm looking for, and I'm fascinated by that.
Those YouTube rabbit holes are unbelievable where they lead you sometimes.
Yes. And then I got stuck on this lady last night. I don't even know why it popped up, but I came across it and I started listening to it. She was like she's like a therapist, like a marriage therapist. And I'm not even married, keep in mind, but she was discussing why women don't have sex with their husbands. And I was just like, well, let's check this out. So that was 25 minutes deep, and I was fascinated by that discussion. And then I pulled up a couple of funny spoofs on the Biden Trump debate, which is pretty
there's
funny.
A lot of that out there right now.
Yeah, so it just leads from it's a tangled web. And you keep getting suggestions. It's got that smart technology where it's like you watch one video and before you know it, they pop up with a bunch of other suggestions like, well, that looks good, and that one looks good, and that one looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable how good that thing is, YouTube. So there you go. That's how that goes down. Oh, by the way, we have a 4-pack of tickets for the Hops to give away. Should we do that?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let me see what game this is going to be for. Oh,
Great
it's spectacular.
time to go out to see the
Oh,
Hops.
my daughter's rolling out tonight. Going to go check some Hops baseball out.
Cool. She could be our
I
correspondent.
reached out to Seth Hoyle and said, hey, my daughter wants to see a game. And before you know it, he was sending tickets over into my email box. Thank you, Seth. I appreciate you, buddy. All right, the game is going to be for the Tri-City Dust Devils coming up on Friday, July 12th.
You know, Chad, when the Dust Devils and Hops get together, you just don't know what's
It's a
going to happen.
party.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you would like a 4-pack of tickets to sit in the Rip City Radio Row, we'll take caller 1 right now, 503-248-0620. 503-248-0620. That's your telephone number. First caller through will get a 4-pack of tickets for the Hops. 503-248-0620. Call now, Tri-City and Hillsborough, 503-248-0620.
Pasco, call us.
Hillsborough!
Kennewick, Richland, Tri-Cities, let's hear you.
Stevenson!
Goldendale, West Ram.
Dow's! All right, 503-248-0620. If you want a 4-pack of tickets for the Hops, you can fire away right now. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. I really believe this, Godfather. When they made the hire, I didn't think they were going to do it. When push came to shove, I just didn't think that the Chargers were going to pony up the jack and spend all of the different things that were necessary money-wise to bring him in. Because if Jim Harbaugh comes in, you got to pay him big money because he's a great coach. But you also have to pay him money to bring in the staff and the assistants that he wants because he wants the best. And, oh, by the way, he's going to ask you to pour money into the facilities.
Exactly.
And technology and nutrition. You've got to be on board for it all.
You're going to find out you need things you never thought you needed, right?
Yes, and there's no way around it. Like, he's not going to accept anything less than this is how it's got to be done, or I want nothing to do with it. And what I love about this Godfather is that he's immediately brought in, and we talked about this before when they made the hire, but he is a guy that is very comfortable and secure in his convictions. He knows what he likes to do. He knows how he wants to coach, and he's got a formula for success, a plan that he's implemented at multiple locations, San Diego, with Stanford, with the 49ers, with Michigan, and he's won every single place that he's been. So he knows that his formula, his plan is going to work. And so what I loved about this is that you had a talented team with a great quarterback that had no direction because their coach was a buffoon. But now you bring in Jim Harbaugh, and my guess is from day one when he took over, the players instantly noticed a difference because he has all the answers and knows exactly what he's going to do. And more importantly, he can tell you why you need to play a certain way for him and the team and how that's going to lead to success, not just for the team, but also for you personally. And then when the team wins and you have success, everyone has a chance to gain financially. And that's what players want to hear. Plus, you're going to have an opportunity to play in this system, and this is how we're going to get it done. Players want to be coached. They just need to know that the guy barking in their ear knows what they're doing, and Jim Harbaugh certainly does.
Well, he has credibility. His track record, his resume is right up there.
It's second to none.
You think he's going to be better than most people do, right?
I do. I think the Chargers are instantly going to be great, and I think they're going to instantly challenge for the AFC West crown.
Wow.
I think they will challenge Kansas City, and I think they're going to be tough. Yes, because, one, the reason why this move made so much sense for Jim is that having Justin Herbert there makes all the difference in the world.
Mhm.
You don't have to worry about the quarterback position. All Herbert needs is protection, direction, and then you can step back and let him do the job. And Herbert, you and I both know that he's the type of guy that will do whatever you ask him to do.
Mhm.
However you want to play it is how he's going to do it. And he won't ask questions. He'll just go out and execute at a high level. But most importantly, he's smart. Harbaugh's smart. Harbaugh and he will be on the same page.
Yeah.
And then Herbert can take all of that information and be able to get it out to his teammates. And then there's the extension of Harbaugh on the field right there, where Herbert will be barking out and commanding that his guys in the huddle do things a certain way. And when they don't, he'll show them what they're doing wrong. And he'll hold them accountable to that. And when you have a great coach and you have the stud quarterback who's also holding guys accountable on the field, then all of a sudden you have what we see around the NFL with these great teams where you've got the coach, you've got the quarterback, and you've got that extension of the coach on the field in the player. And to me, that's Justin Herbert.
Well, there's no question. Harbaugh loves him some Justin Herbert.
And he should, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what does Herbert have that you wouldn't like? He's got everything. He's got the arm talent. He's got the mobility. He's got the charisma. He's got leadership qualities.
He's tough.
He's tough. He's super smart. He's accurate. He makes good decisions. He represents the franchise perfectly. There's nothing about Justin Herbert that you don't like. The only knock on Herbert that you can even say is, well, what has he won? Well, okay. There's
What
been a lot of
chances?
quarterbacks in his position early on that haven't won anything.
What
But
chances he had to win?
But now with the coach that knows how to develop a team and a system around him, protection, offensive line play, physical at the line of scrimmage, they will run the football, and that will open up opportunities for Herbert to operate and do what he does best. But most importantly, they'll keep him upright and won't subject him to unnecessary punishment. And more importantly, they'll have a coach who's making sound decisions on the sideline so he doesn't compromise the team because of his gambling nature or the pressure that he feels like he has to do something a certain way to keep his job. That's not Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's secure in that position. And when players can feel that and know that, and there's one clear leader with one clear voice in Jim Harbaugh, it makes things that much easier. I mean, what do you see from Jim? What do you like about him?
I like that he's a winner, a proven winner, and knows he has the courage of his convictions, too. He knows what works. And confident coaches like that who have a formula and a plan and know how to execute their plan, they win players over almost immediately. Players can smell a phony. They know a phony a mile away. But this guy comes in, they believe him from day one. I'll bet you, because he knows what he's doing. And he's going to take care of Mr. Herbert. I'll tell you that. He's got him in, you see that? He's got him in a gold jersey at practice. Not the usual red jerseys the quarterbacks wear, because those guys get a 2-yard bumper zone around them.
Yeah, according to Harbaugh, quote, quarterback, we try to have a 2-yard halo around him. The gold jersey is just a reminder. 2 yards for all the quarterbacks, but the guy wearing the gold jersey, let's make that 2.5 or 3. So that don't get too close to Herbert.
Yes.
You don't want to be the dum-dum that nicks up Herbert in practice.
That's right.
The coach will be on your backside.
Yeah, and Herbert didn't want to wear it because he's calling attention to himself, being Herbie. That's the way he is. But finally he said, you know what? If the coach wants me to do it, I'll do it.
All right, when we come back, Colin Amos, our good friend from the law offices of Goldberg and Jones, is here to answer your monthly questions. So we will do that. That's Dwight. I'm Chad. You got the Rip City Drive. All right, Rip City Drive, Dwight and Chad on this fabulous Tuesday. I was just sharing mountain bike disaster stories with a man, Colin Amos, who is big into mountain biking. But Luke and I, my workout partner, we used to mountain bike all the time, brother. And it was awesome because there's great areas around here to mountain bike. But over time, as I've gotten older, I had to give it up because as much as I love it, and I love it, I kept getting destroyed.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to do it the right way, you're going to wipe out. And the problem is I just kept coming up with busted elbow. I ran part of the, the pedal into my top of my ankle and put a big gouge in it. You name it, I've done it.
Yeah, and same way. I mean, here I'm 57.
But you look great, man.
Oh, yeah, thanks,
you look like a young 57, brother.
Yeah, you should see my back because I've got racing stripes from the dirt from last weekend. And my left wrist is swollen.
Wow.
So the 2 out of 3 times I've gotten back, these full suspension bikes are incredible.
They're amazing.
And these tracks out there, Sandy Ridge, where we went last week, is so much fun. So I was going back to my old dirt biking days, and I've got that old technique. It's like riding a bike. It's like riding a motorcycle. But 2 out of 3 times I've eaten dirt. And first time I was scraped up and bleeding. This time I pile drived my head into the ground. Luckily, the technology of these helmets is amazing because I put 200 pounds directly of force right into my helmet, and I'm here I am.
Yeah, if you wouldn't have been wearing your helmet, you'd be dead. You'd be a goner.
Absolutely.
No, those helmets, the technology is terrific. It's gotten better. Yeah, my favorite birthday of all time was birthday number 12. My dad finally broke down and got me a Kawasaki with the power band when I lived in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't believe it. They just gave it to me, and I was ripping around the mountain, man, with the power band. It's so awesome.
I was age 5, and my dad took me down to the motorcycle shop and got me an XR75, Honda XR75.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even touch the pegs at that point. I'm like, this is incredible.
Wow.
And then, 18 years of mountain bike or motorcycling, and it's a little different. My wife has threatened to sell my brand new motorbike if I eat dirt again because I can hardly walk today, and it's that
You're going to be
Saturday.
Useless.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. I gave you a hard, bro pat and everything when you came, and you're like,
you did.
Don't do it.
You notice I
I
held
had no
back a
idea.
little. I was guarding my left lower back.
It
Yeah,
was.
that's
You
right.
didn't even move. I was like, did I offend Colin? But no, you were protecting yourself.
That's right. Trying.
All right. Well, it's great to have you back in studio. Colin Amos, law offices of Goldberg and Jones, 1-800-DIVORCE. He is your man. If you are facing a divorce, a custody issue, or if you need a prenuptial agreement, Colin is your guy. But we wanted to start with this because it's a wild story in sports. But recently, Eric Spoelstra, the head coach for the Miami Heat, and Dwight and I believe he's the best coach in the NBA, but he recently signed a new mega contract, $120 million.
Yeah, crazy.
Now, that's big money.
That's big money.
It also happened to come shortly after his divorce was finalized.
Right.
I'm wondering how that plays out for the ex-wife in regards to the new contract.
Yeah. Well, the key word there is ex-wife because, if they're divorced, whatever happens going forward, generally speaking, is, it's off limits. But I read some of the articles, I'm looking at it, and one, they're in Florida, which is very similar to Oregon. It's an equitable distribution state, which, divide things, fair and equitably, which in Oregon, whatever's generated during the marriage is divided by 2. But the kind of the drama of it all in the media is that the Miami Heat, they held back on negotiations of the contract because they knew he was going to get a divorce. And so she didn't know what was going on. The reality of, you pull back the curtain, any attorney that's, been practicing a couple years out of law school has to go through this process discovery that says, hey, give us all your assets and information and contracts and what's going on. And any reasonable attorney is going to expect that, hey, you're in your contract negotiations or it's coming up, and that's going to be built into that. Even if you don't know what it is, you know that, hey, it's coming. They were married for 7 years. They have kids. I am guessing that was all essentially taken into consideration in their negotiations to get to her to a number that says child support and spousal support and property and debt division is going to presume that he's going to make good money. And she was taken care of in that negotiation to the point where she says, I may not know what that future contract is, but I'm going to sign this deal. Now, and when I read her comments were, hey, it was a fair deal. You guys don't know what you're talking about. I'm happy. We're co-parenting. So I'm guessing it was pretty darn fair. But, yeah, you can hold back and you can be concerned about those things and hold as far out as possible so that at least with regard to negotiations that you can maybe remove yourself from a little bit of the pain of, say, spousal support or things like that.
Wouldn't you guess, though? I mean, he was a multimillionaire when
Yeah.
they got married.
Yeah.
And I would guess there might have been a prenup.
You would
involved,
hope so.
which wouldn't necessarily be known by the folks in the
That's
media.
right. Yeah, that's a
Comment.
contract that, you don't file that.
Right.
Their negotiations are going to be off the books. They're not going to be part of the public, domain. And the prenuptial, many times they have spousal support provisions that say this is
Yeah.
many years and this is how much. So it's probably all been dialed in already. So, but it's certainly fun to say, they held back the negotiations and she didn't know, and her attorney never knew that he would be coaching in the future in the NBA. They all knew that.
Makes a better story.
It
this
makes a
way.
better story.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it goes pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Well-
After that, they were holding back. So
Yeah, so that's what it is. Just salacious story. Then the
It's-
media can latch onto it and be like, "Hey, big contract right after the divorce."
But I was looking for it, like, well, what is it? What was her deal versus what what he signed? And nothing. It's just quiet. They just said the Miami Heat, held back negotiations. So I think it's all taken into
So
consideration.
basically, unless you've got a dum-dum for an attorney,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, because we handle these types of situations all the time where you got packages, you got to negotiate certain contracts, and the discovery goes through that. What is your history of income? What's your contract currently? What are the future contracts going to be? And that's all presumed in there. And you can look ahead to say, okay, what we think you're going to be able to make and negotiate accordingly. And if you don't think it's fair, you don't sign the deal. She wouldn't have signed the deal if she didn't feel very comfortable. And everybody knew he's going to continue to coach, and he's going to get an income, and he's going to have a good contract.
And every time he signs a new one, it's going to be bigger.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And the interesting question is, if it really wasn't taken into consideration, could she go back in and modify it? I think it's too close thereafter. So that goes to that point that he signed the deal after the deal was done. Of course, everybody knew, and it was presumed in the spousal support negotiation that, yes, he would get some contract in the future. And this is not a substantial change in circumstances that would allow her to come back in and modify it just because he got this $120 million.
Very interesting. See, Colin can take care of you whether you're an NBA coach or an ordinary average Joe like me. 1-800-DIVORCE is the telephone number. Any questions you have for Colin, you can call him. The first call is free, and he will point you in the right direction. Here are the questions that came in, Colin. First one up, my wife and I are going to get a divorce. What is the process for a father to gain full custody? We have one child. Our son is 8 years old. Thanks for your help.
Yeah, good question. It's the same for women. I mean, it's fairly gender neutral. But the bottom line is custody is not based upon whether you're the father or the mother. It's based upon your history and your role with regard to the day-to-day activities and of your child. So getting the child up, taking them to school, taking them to the doctor's appointment, cooking, cleaning, getting to their activities, helping them with their homework, putting them to bed, all of the things that it takes. The court is evaluating who is the day-to-day primary care parent. So if that happens to be – so in this situation, if you want to put yourself in the best position, start making sure you're continue to be very involved in the day-to-day care of that child so that you can say factually, I have been that primary care parent, making sure your work schedule is not onerous so that you can work from home or you have flexibility to take care of the child comparatively to your wife.
Okay, next question, Colin. What qualifies for an annulment in the state of Oregon?
Yeah, it's a very tight qualification because annulment it's rare, and it basically you get married and then you're like, substantial fraud, like if you wanted to have children and you made that known and it was a big deal and the other party just could not, they were absolutely not able to have kids, and you get married and find out, oh, sorry, I should have told you. So that could be something like that. If you were under the influence of drugs and alcohol, the Vegas, Britney Spears, when she got married down and then they got it annulled. So but the thing is, if you're under the influence when you enter into a marriage, like almost everybody is, generally speaking, so you have to annul it fairly quick, because if you don't and you sober up and you're like, okay, and 2 months later, well, you're now, the court says, well, you've ratified that decision.
Sure.
So there's really not many circumstances that really qualify for an annulment.
All right, next question up, Colin. Can my spousal support be adjusted if my ex-wife is cohabiting with her boyfriend?
The big question I get daily.
Is this a daily question?
Oh, it's a daily because
Wow.
who wants to pay spousal support, male or female?
Nobody.
And the first thing you think about is they're living with somebody, they're getting subsidized by their living expenses, and they're helping pay the bills. Why should I be paying as much? I'm going to break this down into the two-state answer. Washington and Oregon handle termination of spouse support differently. Washington, like most states, if you get remarried, it's an automatic termination of spouse support. Oregon, if you get remarried, it's a presumptive substantial change, and you can try to modify it but it's not an automatic termination. So you take that one step further in cohabitation. If Oregon says even if you get remarried, it doesn't mean it automatically terminates. Well, cohabitating is even less of an impact than actually getting married. So it can make a difference, but it's really hard to prove that that person is committed, like being married, to supporting that person and financially throughout the future. So it's cohabitation's a tough one.
And the response that they were not wanting. Oh,
I know. You got to hit that buzzer. But call me. You never know. You never know.
All right, here's the next one. Colin, my wife and I are going to get a divorce. She wants to move out of state with our daughter. How do I prevent this from happening?
That's a good question. That happens all the time also. People are relocating jobs,
Sure.
Different relationships. In Oregon, Oregon is, I would say, resistant to relocations because if you want to relocate, you have to prove that it's in the best interest of the child. So let's say you have a parenting plan and it's, whatever it is, it's a shared parenting plan. First of all, the statute provides that you have to give notice. If you're moving a greater distance of 60 miles from the other parent, you have to give reasonable notice of your intent to relocate. That's almost verbatim statute quote. So they say, hey, I'm going to Texas because I got this job opportunity. At that point, you bring a modification. You can get a post-judgment status quo that says keep the child here till we figure this out. And then the relocating person really has to show why is Texas so great for the child. It might be good for her or him to move to Texas, job opportunity, new relationship, but are you going to disrupt their school, their community, their doctors, and most importantly, the relationship with the other parent? And we've done a lot of successful switch of custody where mom says, I'm moving, and that's the way it is, and we bring a modification proceeding, and the court says, well, you can move, but dad can keep him in the same school and all the routine, and we're going to keep the child here. And so she gets a long-distance parenting plan.
Colin Amos, law office of Goldberg Jones. You can reach him at 1-800-DIVORCE. Next question, based off your recommendation. And by the way, I love these questions because your message is getting through, Colin, which is nice.
It is.
My fiance and I are going to do a prenuptial agreement. Where do we start, and what should we be considering with this agreement?
So a basic prenuptial, it just says what you're bringing into the marriage, we're going to keep separate. 401k, a house with equity, things of that nature. It could be family trust or other assets that you want to protect, a business interest that you have. The more extensive prenuptial will say, okay, yeah, that's separate. And you add so you get your list of all the property and approximate values, and you have a list for him and her. And this is what I'm bringing in. This is what you're bringing in. And just because we're married doesn't commingle that. And in a future divorce doesn't mean that it's part of that divorce. And appreciation to the assets, investment, due to market forces as 401ks will accumulate, that's going to be separate. The new more invasive ones or more extensive ones talk about, okay, what we do during the marriage, I want it to be separate. So if it's in my name and I earn that income and I buy a piece of property, if I don't put it in joint names, it's my separate property. Then the more extensive ones deal with spousal support, the SPOSTRA effect of a prenuptial that says, okay, for every year we're married, you get this much spousal support, and it's in a formula base, so it's all premeditated, so you don't have to argue about it in a divorce proceeding.
Interesting. All right, next one. This is a good one. Colin, I'm considering adopting my girlfriend's son. Would that impact her child support payments she's receiving?
It should, because if you're adopting a child, you're basically saying, I'm now going to be the father.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming
he's mine, right?
Yeah, my child now. And you step into the shoes as the father and having the parental rights, but you also step into the shoes of the financial responsibility. So you got to think long and hard. You can be a father figure and not take over the financial responsibility. But if you step in, and depending on that age, you become the father. And we have that happen a lot where the child is 6 or 7, the father adopts the child. They get divorced when the child is now 11 or 12, and maybe that biological father enters back into the picture, and then you still have the legal rights. But if the child's now having a relationship because mom's sponsoring that relationship with the biological father, that's the way it is. And you have your rights of visitation, but you still have to support that child till 18 or 21 if the child goes on to college. So it's I'd be careful of, think
hard about that.
Think very hard and have a consultation with an attorney before you jump on in.
That's taking on a lot.
You have a constipated look on your
Yeah,
face,
because
Chad.
when I got that question, I was like, hey, that's a good one. What a nice act that is. And now that I'm hearing you talk, it's like, don't do it, man.
Just chill out.
You can be a father without having a piece of paper that says
That's right.
you are
You
officially
can-
the father.
You can provide financial support. You can help out, but you're just not you're not legally obligated to do it. So just be careful.
See, again, this is why it's nice to have you around, because I'm dumb. I would have been like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. And then 2 years down the road,
you
I'm
learned.
like,
You learned. You got smart after the first one, and then after that, you were all ready.
All right, here's the final question for you. Colin, I've been married for 10 years. My wife has not worked during that time. If we divorce, how much spouse support will I have to pay?
Well, yeah, spousal support is not automatic just because you're getting a divorce or because you're a man or because you're a woman. Spousal support is based on a variety of factors. In Oregon, the two biggest are length of marriage, so 10 years, and income disparity at the date of divorce. Because if you make the same amount of money, you're not going to pay spousal support no matter how long you've been married. Others include health, age, educational background, employability, work history, and then compounding all that mush is the fact in Oregon there's 3 types: transitional, compensatory, and maintenance. So in this situation, the rule of thumb in Oregon, let's say that the one party makes $150,000, the other person makes $50,000. So there's a $100,000 disparity, and they're going to maintain that disparity. It's not like this person making 50 is all of a sudden next year going to make 90 and then 150. So assuming they're going to maintain some kind of disparity, the rule of thumb, this is not the rule of law in Oregon, is half the length of time you've been married. So if you're married 10 years, 5 years of spousal support. In Washington, for every 3 to 5, this is again rules of thumb, for every 3 to 5 years of marriage, 1 year of spousal support. And so it just depends. And I've heard in California, you're married over 10 years, it can be indefinite spousal support. So don't move to California, but where you have that disparity. So, move north.
Brutal.
Maybe in Canada, there's no spousal support.
Yeah.
So
Indefinite.
stay north. Yeah, indefinite. Which they have in Oregon, but that's usually reserved for people who've been married for over 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And then it goes to indefinite. And in Washington, 24, 25 years, they call it permanent, but it's really indefinite because it can be modified with changes of circumstance. There you go. Sobering thoughts.
Wow.
So the question is, why get married?
Because we're in love.
We're busy enough. We don't need extra work or get a prenuptial.
Dude, as long as you guys choose to stay in business, you will have cases come your
Oh,
way.
that's right.
I was going to
That's
say,
right.
how many times have you said that over the phone to somebody? Why are you getting married?
Yeah. It just we're busy regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, call me. Go hang up and rethink this, and then call me back.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I tell my clients who are getting divorced. If you're in Vegas and you get that inkling with your new girlfriend, fiance, just call me, and I will talk you off the ledge.
I've got
Go back
plenty
to the
of
craps
examples.
table. Go spend your money at the craps table.
All right, you can check out the website, goldbergjones-or.com. Colin Amos is the man, and he's the guy that answers the calls at 1-800-DIVORCE. So if you call, he will get back to you, answer any questions you have, and point you in the right direction. So if you need an attorney, he will suggest that. If you don't,
Stinks.
he'll let you know. If he thinks love stinks, he'll tell you that too.
No,
Dude,
I
you're
don't.
the
I've
best,
been married
man.
29 years.
Well, I don't want your love to stink, so be safe on your bike.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No question. Thanks, man.
You're the best. Colin Amos, law offices of Goldberg Jones, joins us every month to answer your questions. 1-800-DIVORCE. The Rip City Drive continues. Dwight and Chad. All right, big thanks to Colin Amos for joining Dwight and I in studio. Man, mountain biking, you're right, Godfather. The older you get, too, the more brittle the bones get.
Sorry. Suddenly a lot easier to break a bone somewhere in your body. You're just so much more vulnerable. That's a big chance to be doing that in your 50s, going fast down a hill. Ugh. Glad he was wearing a helmet. Good grief.
I had to give it up. I had to give up mountain biking because I was just taking too much damage with the body.
And you're not that old either. I mean, that was a smart call by you. Because you tend to be, you're, I don't know, I wouldn't say you're Sam Bowie or anything, but you tend to get hurt a little bit. You know, you do. You get injuries doing stuff, right?
You can get injuries doing stuff. I mean, the workouts definitely help. The strength training over the years, increasing bone density, keeping my connective tissue solid, like all that's been very helpful. But I had to give up pickup basketball because I got dudes out there, morons.
Yeah.
Morons. Whether it's at the local gym, at the playground, these buffoons who think they're playing for a Larry O'Brien trophy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, douche, I know that you care about winning, but you got to settle down because you're going to get us hurt here. So just relax. But they don't relax, and so I gave up hoop because it was the pounding on the body. The mountain biking, too many crashes. Once I ripped up my elbow with the radio head, I was like, nope. So now I strength train, and I do whatever I can with the chiropractic care and the massage to keep my body as healthy as I can so I can move. And then I want to play golf. And golf is not exactly the easiest thing you can do on your body. So,
oh, no.
But I just care about movement now. How long can I move? Because I think I boiled it down. Length of life is not really the most important thing to me. But for as long as I live, being able to move, that's what's important. So whether it's 60 years, 65 years, 75 years, whatever, I just want to be able to move. That's all, because I've seen enough people who have chronic pain or issues when they get older. I don't want to be that guy. So that just means I have to check off certain activities from the list. That's okay. It's probably a normal process for everyone, except for Colin. He crazy Godfather.
Yeah, that's not wise.
There's some great places to mountain bike around here, too.
Yeah, of course.
Now, the inexcused absence, according to Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets, who we believe might be a dum-dum. Well, we found out Aaron Rodgers was not in Ashland, Oregon at a, some type of a retreat.
Yeah, he's
darkness retreat.
Total darkness.
Egypt.
Yeah, of course.
The pyramids.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's been a lifelong dream of his, go to Egypt.
Says here that Rodgers originally pieced this trip together during his recovery from his Achilles injury. It gave him something to look forward to during one of the lowest points of his career. He's long admired Egyptian culture and scheduled a visit for what he believed to be after the offseason programs.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
The Jets were made aware of the trip when the official minicamp dates were announced June 11th, 12th, and overlapped with Rodgers' plans. While an unexcused absence, the team is not concerned. Whatever. So you're trying to tell me that Rodgers plans this trip and they don't somehow have a good idea of when the minicamp's going to be?
No, because it's pretty much right around the same time every year. I mean, it's not like they're floating those things all over the place.
Would you want to go to Egypt?
Yeah, I'd like to see the pyramids. I have to say that. That would be the only reason for going over there, though. I don't know that it's...
Like where
I can't
else, though?
picture having a lot of fun over there, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you've already been down the Amazon. Like,
Yeah.
where's the next place you want to go to? Like, is there a place you haven't been to that you'd like to visit? Because I have a couple of places.
Well, I'd like to go to Australia. It's just such a long trek that, it's like if you go, I'd want to spend 2 weeks there if I went because it's such a long time getting there and back. I don't want to just get there and have to turn around and get on that plane again.
That'd be a good trip.
Australia would be fun, though.
Never been to Australia. I'd like to go to Japan.
Yeah, that's another one, Chad. I would, too.
I've talked to multiple friends who have been to Japan. I would like to go. Tokyo is one of the great wonders of the world in terms of technology and the city and everything. I'd like to go and check it out. And I've heard the people there are terrific.
Yeah. I would also like to go to Cuba. That interests me. Cuba really does interest me.
My dad would like to go just to check out all the old American vehicles that are
Oh, man.
hanging out.
Yeah, they still got a lot of them running down those streets.
I mean, those are the cars my dad grew up with. He would love that.
Yeah. I'd like to go and watch their baseball. They're fanatical baseball fans, and they have their own teams. They have their industrial leagues, and it'd be kind of fun to go.
I had a friend that went to Cuba and went with a small group, but they stayed at different places, and they had one guide with them that kind of toured them around and stuff.
Mhm.
And she said it was a phenomenal trip. Good culture, good food, different things to check out. Very interesting.
One of my good friends, Chris, went and liked it so well he went back again a year later, I think.
I would like to go to South Korea. My dad's been over there multiple times for work and said it was really cool. I would like to go check out a baseball game in Japan or South Korea.
Yeah, yeah.
They're baseball
They're crazy
freaks.
about it.
They
Yeah.
love it. In fact, I wish they would have gone, the Dodgers and Padres opened up in South Korea this year.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been fun to be at something
We
like
thought
that.
about that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's quite a trek and a journey to get over there.
Yeah, it is.
But, yeah.
I'd like to go to Japan for not only baseball, pro wrestling is pretty amazing over there, too.
Now, is that like the
Not
sumo
the sumo-
wrestling?
Not the sumo,
Okay.
no. I've seen sumo. There's not a lot.
I've watched too many James Bond movies, so I wasn't sure what type of wrestling you're talking about.
No,
But like
pro
their form
wrestling.
of WWE is dope.
Yeah, it's a little rougher over there, and they're really into it. A lot of the same guys go back and forth and wrestle both places.
Oh, they do. So you
Oh,
get
yeah.
some guys who cross over.
Oh yeah, for sure. A lot of the big stars here have gone over there on tours, made a lot of money. Yeah,
That sounds like fun.
it would be. They got very old places where they wrestle in. Then they have one card a year in the Tokyo Dome, which is huge. Wouldn't mind seeing that.
All right, we'll come back, and when we do, we have a pair of tickets for Hairfest to give away. We'll do that. And we got a Bo Nix update coming up at 5:20. You got the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. All right, 5 o'clock, Chad here. What's going on, my friends? We start with the NBA. Michael Thompson says he tried to sell his son Clay on the Lakers before he decided on Dallas. We'll have more on that coming up on the Rip City Drive. Kimball Walker is calling it a career. Jonathan Isaac agrees to a new 5-year, $84 million deal with the Magic. And the Pacers have agreed to terms with former Warriors number 2 overall pick James Wiseman. In baseball, the Mariners open up action today, just 3 games up on the Astros, who are on fire. The Mariners are struggling, just 3-8 over their last 11. Open up a series tonight against the Orioles at T-Mobile Park. That first pitch at 6:40. George Kirby is going to take the mound for Seattle. Coming up next on the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad, we have a pair of tickets to give away for Hairfest. We will do that next. All right, Rip City Drive, Dwight and Chad. Hairfest is coming to Canby July 18th through the 20th at the Clackamas County Events Center. You can get your tickets to the mother of all tribute festivals now at hairfest.com. But we have a pair of tickets to give away for opening night at Hairfest. If you'd like a pair of tickets for Hairfest, call now, 503-248-0620. 503-248-0620. First caller through will get a pair of tickets for Hairfest, the mother of all tribute festivals, coming to the Clackamas County Event Center in Canby, July 18th through the 20th. A pair of tickets to the first caller through right now. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. 503-248-0620. Call now, and you'll get a pair of tickets for Hairfest, the mother of all tribute festivals. You can get tickets at hairfest.com.
You know, Chad, I don't know if people realize how good some of these tribute bands are. They are really good.
Yeah, they're top notch.
Yeah, if you didn't know the difference, you'd think you were listening to the, real band.
Yeah, I went to, one of the coolest birthday parties I've ever been to in my life. My friend Alex Spearman turned 50, and this is back in 2016, and he lives up in Tacoma, so he rented out a auditorium in Tacoma, right in the downtown area. And the party was great because it was 80s themed. So it was all the things that he grew up with as a youngster at the time. So they were serving hamburger helper, tuna helper.
Oh, gosh.
Any type of food or snacky that you can think of from the 80s, it was there.
Yeah.
But the coolest part was the Journey tribute band opened up the show, and then he closed out with the Queen tribute band.
Wow. Were they good?
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And I was thinking, what a great way to celebrate your 50th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part was we all had to dress up in different 80s type themed costumes. And keep in mind, I'm not much of a costume guy.
Yeah, I would think of that, yeah.
But if you're being invited to a sweet party with that type of setup, you got to buy in. So I got a Top Gun jumpsuit and went as Pete Mitchell, Maverick. And I got some aviator sunglasses. I mean, I looked the part, man. I was in the jumpsuit, enjoying the party, and it was great. And Alex had me MC, so I got to introduce the bands. It was a pretty sweet night. I was thinking, man, that was cool, but it sounded great. I mean, I guess it's not just the sound and the way they sound. And, of course, they practice it over and over and over again to make sure they get the sound down, because if you're going to be a tribute band, you've got to be authentic. But, like, even the guy that that was singing for Queen, like the movements, the way that he was on stage moving around, the dancing, the showmanship, it was unbelievable. It was like, I respect it. And I've learned now over time, like some tribute bands that I come across on YouTube, even some like remakes of songs. Like if the artist is good, I'll give it a listen to see what it's like. Because if you got talent and they're putting their own spin on something, I like to listen to it to see what their interpretation is of the song.
Yeah, yeah. I follow a couple of Pink Floyd tribute bands on YouTube. There's one in Australia that may be better. They may be better than the original group. They're really good.
That's how good they are.
Yeah.
That's amazing. In fact, what was it? I think it was a Rick Beato YouTube video, but Queen is one of the most streamed bands on Spotify. I mean, they just get all sorts of play, and I'm just like, I guess it just goes to show you with good music, right? When you have good songwriting, good musicianship, and then you've got someone like Freddie Mercury who can sing, and is unique. I mean, that music's going to stand forever.
Oh yeah.
And new generations, people who are born and coming into the world, and they start, checking out music. They come across that stuff. They're like, "What is this? It's amazing."
I mean, they wrote and performed anthems. Many of those songs are actually anthems. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you like Queen?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've got.
I never saw them live, but
I didn't either. But they've got numerous songs that are.
Oh gosh,
sensational!
What a catalog they have.
I'm totally down. All right, let's take a listen to this. Michael Thompson, one of the godfathers of Portland Sports Talk Radio, former Laker. Obviously, the Trailblazers drafted him, went back-to-back with the Lakers. He broadcasts for them now. He's been down in L.A. for a long time. He's done local radio down there, so he's entrenched, and he's a big-time Laker guy. And he, I guess, was trying to sell his son on the idea of being a Laker. Klay Thompson, who grew up
Who could blame him?
a Lakers fan. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Here's what Klay Thompson had to say about Klay Thompson and selling him on the Lakers, and then Klay ultimately going to the Mavericks.
Yeah, hold your congratulations, Frank. And Scal. I'm not too feeling too much in a congratulatory mood right now. Because obviously it's Klay's decision, it's his life. He's a grown man, 34 years of age, just like we were 34 at one time. Scal, Frank, and our father used to give us advice, and we would go choose our own path, and that's fine. That's what life is supposed to be about. But I'm really disappointed. I was hoping, as you can assess, that he would be a Laker, and it was close. It came down to the Lakers and the Mavs, but the Mavs won out. But you know me, I was hoping and praying he'd finish his career with the Lakers.
How close was it, and how involved did you get in trying to connect that?
When he told me that the Lakers were talking to him and or going to talk to him, and the Mavs too, obviously I tried to sell playing for the Lakers. Obviously that's the right thing for me to do and the proper thing for me to do, and I felt like it was the correct thing for me to do because I really believe in this franchise. The franchise has been so good to me and my family, including Klay. He grew up a Laker fan. He grew up idolizing Kobe Bryant like most players his age, most kids his age. So I just thought it seemed like it would be the perfect fit for him to finally come back home because we always talked about him playing for the Lakers if he was not a Golden State Warrior. Where else would he want to play? And, of course, being a fan of Kobe's, he would have loved to have played for the Lakers, but he had a chance, and when the chance came, he chose the Mavericks instead. And I'll live with it. I accept it, and I'm happy for him that he's happy with his decision. But, yeah, of course, I tried to sell him on the Lakers.
All right, there you go. Michael Thompson tried to sell his son on the Lakers. He ended up choosing the Mavericks, and he got a new deal out of it, 3 years and $50 million. But as we're getting more details, from that departure or that breakup, I guess first off we should start with this: dynasties in sports, Godfather. It never ends with a storybook ending, right?
No.
It's messy. It's a divorce. It's a breakup. Things get torn apart, and people say things, and it's always messy. Why is that?
It's just so hard to go from the top of the mountain to the bottom without ending up in rubble at the bottom. I just think what you do when you have a dynasty is you stick with it as long as you can because you love the players that created it. The problem with that is you stick to them too long, then you don't get anything for them when they go, and you're left with chaos and disaster when they're gone. You have nothing left. And it always ends that way because you just can't bring yourself. It's like the Warriors. Yeah, they hated to lose Klay Thompson, but they lost him and didn't get a thing for him because they wouldn't trade him. And it's going to be the same with Steph. You can't trade him. They're not going to trade Steph Curry, but he's going to retire. They're not going to get anything for him. So where are they going to be then? And it's really tough. And I think that's why Bob Myers left Golden State. He didn't want to have to deal with that. Breaking up is hard to do, Chad.
It is. And, well, do you think that part of the reason why Clay ended up feeling disrespected, or maybe why he was disrespected, or the way they handled the whole situation with him going to the bench, do you think that had to do with the change in leadership in the front office without having Bob Myers there?
Oh, I think it's possible. Yeah, I do. Bob Myers was much more sensitive to those players.
He loved them.
I mean, he was there from the beginning. He knows when they grew up and when they grew together and celebrated with that champagne with them. And then you bring in Michael Dunleavy, who I think is going to do a great job. Michael Dunleavy is a smart guy, and he's going to be a good GM. But now he has to deal with kind of the leftovers from that era, and it's not going to be a pleasant task.
I mean, truthfully, if you're the Warriors, the right thing to do now would be to trade Steph.
Well, yeah, if you looked at it globally, Chad, from up above with no emotion tied to any of it, I think you'd say get what you can for Steph, because you can still get a lot that would help you rebuild the franchise. But could you live with that? Can you live with trading him away? But, we go back over history, and a lot of these players who thought they would spend a lifetime with one franchise, some of whom won a lot of championships with that franchise, ended up spending their later years with another team.
But don't you think that's part of what makes sports great, though, is that emotional connection?
Sure. Yeah. And you have to have that with your fans. That's what keeps fans buying tickets. It's not only the part where those guys are there, it's the memories of them being there. You talk to Blazer fans, the ones that are old enough still remember the title. The ones that aren't that old still remember the early 90s and those 2 trips to the finals against Jordan. Well, one against Jordan, one against the Pistons. But those are great memories for people to hang on to, and the emotion that goes with it lasts a long time.
Yeah, I just can't imagine being the owner that trades away Steph Curry.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be. I don't think you can.
Because I truly think the fans now who have been a part of the 4 championships that Steph Curry was the ringleader for, I think they would rather watch Steph Curry finish out his career with the Warriors and go to the games and watch him play and put up big nights and do what he does. They care more about that than they do getting value in return for Steph.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive, but I totally get it.
Yeah, I do too. I've just wondered, like the San Francisco Giant fans who loved Willie Mays, they were spared from the agony of watching Willie fall down in left field for the New York Mets, trying to catch a fly ball,
But how many teams have truly let go of a superstar in order to rebuild without holding on too long? It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, no, Tom Brady.
Yeah, but that cost them a championship too.
Oh, yeah.
They could have won again.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't about rebuilding. That was more about 3 egos that had to be broken up.
Yeah, and
look how that played out for Belichick. He's no longer there, and he's sucked ass ever since Brady left town.
Yeah. Well, it also goes back to what, the great architect of baseball franchises, Branch Rickey, who signed Jackie Robinson, always said, it's better to get rid of him a year too soon than a year too late.
I agree, but no one does that.
I know.
Yeah, it's great to say that, but no one does
You're
it.
right. No. But he got rid of Jackie Robinson.
I love
Jackie retired before going to play for the Giants.
I love Kobe, but watching him the last couple of years was...
That's agony for a Laker fan, right?
It was painful because it wasn't the same Kobe that I knew from his greatness, right? It was just different. I still enjoy watching him, finish out his career, but it was signing him to that extension that the Sun did. It was not the best business decision, but at the same time, if he doesn't do it, the fans will. There would be a revolt. What do you mean you're not re-signing Kobe?
Yeah.
But I think that emotion, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. I just don't want to be the man that has to make that decision.
Right. That's what Bob Myers said.
I can tell you what I'm doing. I'm not trading Steph, and I'm
Yeah.
not trading Kobe. I'm just not doing it. I'll die with my stars.
Would you have kept Clyde Drexler?
Well, he didn't want to be here. That's the difference.
Yeah, that was only because of other moves the GM made that made him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If
And
there
wh-
hadn't been a GM change, that might not have happened.
The whole thing I love Clyde. I really
Yeah.
do. But what pisses me off about that whole thing, Clyde asked for a trade because the whole situation around him changed.
Yeah, they had already started their rebuild, basically.
But Clyde gets blamed for one and out. It's like, no. The people around him made decisions that changed and altered the
Exactly.
entire situation he had in
Yeah.
Portland, so he
Co-
wanted out.
Yeah, coach is gone, GM is gone. All the remnants of the championship runs were
Gone.
disappearing right before his eyes. Who could blame him?
I don't. I just hate that for some reason, he's the bad guy in that scenario.
Yeah, well, he shouldn't be.
No. But if you ask the ordinary average Joe Blazer
Yeah.
fan, they blame Clyde. That's one of those ones that irritates me.
Yeah, I don't think the fans at the time, there were so many of them happy to see him have a chance to go somewhere and win. Kind of like there is with
Really?
Damian Lillard.
I
Yeah.
haven't
There's
talked to
a
any of
lot
those
of
fans.
fans happy to see Dame go somewhere and have a chance to win.
I'm just saying, in regards to Clyde, I haven't heard one fan that was happy to see him win one in Houston.
I know, but at the time, my belief was that at the time. I was a columnist at the Oregonian. They sent me to cover his first game as a Rocket, and it was in Charlotte, I believe. And there was a great deal of, I think, happiness for Clyde because they all recognized what was going on, and they tried to hold on to that team. He wasn't the first to go.
Well, I'm just telling you from the fans I hear from,
Yeah.
they weren't. They're mad at Clyde. They weren't happy to see him win a championship in Houston because they feel like that should have happened here.
Well, it wasn't going to.
Well, I understand that, but
No,
I'm
I
just
know.
saying that's.
Yeah, I just wonder how many of those fans were actually fans at that time. That's 1992, 93, in those eras.
Well, these are all the fans I grew up with.
Okay.
That's all in my age range. For people I grew up, they don't like it. Jason Peterson's one of those guys. He hates the fact that Clyde left town.
Wow.
He thinks it's on Clyde. He's like,
He
why
should
that
have
guy
been
leave
happy
town?
or unhappy that Rick Adelman and Jeff Petrie were both run out of town by.
I know, but like I told you the other day, the owners have a weird way of being able to do bad things
Yeah.
and somehow flipping it around and making the player look bad.
Yeah.
They've been getting away with that crap for years. All right, when we come back, Bo Nix update. It's going to be awesome. Wow, 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 wow. Hey, you want to explain that lottery deal real quick? Because it's pretty funny. It's amazing to me how people come up with all these different ways to make money.
Yeah, I have to credit Oregon Live for breaking the story. I'd never heard of this before, but these guys are kind of. The one guy has given his business card to bartenders all over the state, and everybody knows him. He hangs out in all the video poker rooms, the lottery rooms. If you win big on Powerball or something like that, he will immediately give you cash for your winning ticket. He'll give you 70% of what you're supposed to win. Well, that seems like, well, gee, I'd rather have 100% of it. Yeah, you would until you have to start paying tax on it. And a lot of people are in a tax bracket where that would bite into it pretty hard. And then the other side of this, there are people winning this who may owe back child support. Well, if you try to cash in a lottery ticket and they run your name, they can go in and get that back child support if the person you owe has registered with the state. So they can get that from you. Or maybe you just don't have any ID. He'll buy your ticket, go in, he'll cash it himself, and you get 70% of it. It's not a bad deal. Meanwhile, the other guy is buying your lottery ticket, for 70% on the dollar, and you're making that 30%. It's unbelievable. Together, Regina Canteri and her ex-husband, Steven Bogart, racked up even more wins and money during that span. 2,612 claims of greater than $600. That's $608 million they've made with this whole thing, and it's not even illegal. Apparently, they're saying it's kind of skirting around the edges. Nobody's been arrested for doing it yet. They're trying to keep track of it.
I love that the guy's last name is Bogart.
It's perfect, isn't it?
He's Bogarting.
Yes. He's Bogarting the whole lottery system.
That's amazing.
Yeah. What a classic. Guy's a millionaire from doing this.
Now, why can't I think of something like that? I'm an idiot, man. It's like I'm just going to be sitting around.
Well, you're not devious. I mean, you got to be kind of
Well,
devious,
wouldn't you say that?
clever.
I'm definitely devious,
Yeah,
but
but-
I'm not clever.
Yeah.
And trust me, I know, like my Nana used to say, if you knew what was in the person's heart sitting next to you, you'd probably get up and move. I'm very devious, Godfather. I'm just not smart enough to put any of my devious plans to action. That's my problem. I'm a dum-dum.
He's just
I really am.
looking for raw revenge all the time. Right?
I'm just a really, I don't know. I really, I go through these bouts every once in a while. I'm useless as a man. I really am.
Ah.
Not being serious. I can't do anything. I can't build anything. If something's broken, I can't fix anything.
You're
What
like-
good am I?
90% of us are like that nowadays. The world has changed so much. Your dad's era, my dad's era, those guys could fix anything. They can fix cars. They can fix houses, plumbing, refrigerators. But everything they were trying to fix was a lot simpler in those days. They go out and fix the car. Yeah, try that nowadays with one of these cars with a computer in it.
I know, but whether it's simpler days or in today's world, like I ain't doing none of that.
Yeah.
I'm not dropping
Well,
an engine and doing work to it.
Yeah, but nobody
I've
is.
single-handedly seen my dad repair the roof, fix a washer, do the electrical work in the house. And I'm just like, where do you learn how to do all this bleep? If I need to do some edging and this, I can do landscaping, anything and everything. He can build stuff with his bare hands. I've seen him build a house, make a bed, make furniture. What can you do, Chad? Not that, not that, not that. Useless. I
You
could
can-
change the oil.
You can make trouble. You can make trouble.
I do. My
Yeah.
mouth gets me in a lot of trouble. I irritate people all the time. I irritate you all the time. I am.
Not
I'm a
all the
useless.
time.
I'm a useless human being, and I hate that about myself. If my kids need help with their homework, don't come to me because Dad's not going to be the one to help you. There's nothing I hate more than Kaylee saying, "Hey, can you help me with this math question?" No,
Yeah,
no,
math's
you don't,
impossible.
honey. You don't understand. I aced all of my tests in math in college because your grandpa had me do so many problems that I was like a robot. I had it memorized. I aced all of my math tests in college because my dad's like, look, he goes, just trust me on this. I'm just going to have you do so many problems that when you see it on a test, you'll just know what to do. And he was right. But once I got through the test, all of that information went Gonzo?
I aced a lot of my. Well, I never aced them. I got gentleman C in all my math stuff.
What is a
Because-
gentleman C?
Gentleman C. You get the gentleman C. You don't want to work any harder than that. You make other people look bad. So I got the gentleman C because the course was instructed by a graduate assistant who I'd known for about 10 years.
Oh,
And
that's helpful.
yes, it was very helpful as it turned out. Yes. Because I got a Bachelor of Science degree. I know nothing about math or science, but I got a BS degree, which is perfect for me. BS.
BS. Yeah. Oh well. Dang. But that's what concerns me. One of my biggest fears is like, okay, so like my dad, he's like my go-to guy for questions.
Mhm.
I need this fixed. How do I do this? He knows everything. Even though he doesn't believe that, it's like I do believe that he knows everything. He's got all the answers. So when he's gone and I've got no answer guy, like what am I going to do? That's a problem. I'm done. I'm just going to shut it down, Godfather. I got nothing. I got nothing.
Well, maybe he could leave you some instructions in a notebook or something.
Like a time capsule.
Yeah. Here you go,
Uh,
Ted.
See, what can I do? I'm trying to think of something I can actually do that's useful. You're talking to a microphone. Whoopity-doo!
Well, you're pretty good with computers.
Not really.
You can get to YouTube.
I can, yeah. I could do YouTube. I got that part down.
I think you'd be good on Name That Tune. You'd be good on Jeopardy, probably.
No, not Jeopardy. No. I've watched Jeopardy. Those guys are. There comes a part where it's like, okay, that person's right over my
Yeah.
head.
You
The
get
questions they ask a lot of dumb questions on Jeopardy. I'm not
I always can
interested
get
in.
the $20 ones, and that's about it.
Yeah. No, I have seen game shows. Like I want to do. I'm trying to think here. What game shows? Everyone wants to do Prices Right. I mean, I'd love to play a pricing game. Who doesn't want to do that? I always thought Wheel of Fortune would be fun. My buddy Steve, his cousin went on there and won matching PT Cruisers once, which is pretty
Oh.
sweet with Pat Sajak, who shut it down. I always want to do like the $25,000 pyramid. Not so much now that Dick Clark's not doing it, but I always thought that would be a fun game.
Really?
Got to answer the questions quick, and then I always wanted to sit with my back to the wall, and I got to answer the questions in 60 seconds to get those things to flip around and win 25 grand or whatever it is now. Yeah. I can't do anything, but that's okay. Let's get to a Bo Nix delicious update. Now, I know a lot of useless things about the Denver Broncos. The starting offensive line in '89 was Gerald Perry, Jim Juriga, Keith Kartz, Doug Wydell, and Ken Lanier. There you go.
All you got to do is figure out some way to make a profit off knowing that.
I got to find a way to get lottery winners to give me their money. Gosh.
Tell you, that's a business, though. You need some money. You need some seed money to start that business because you're buying those tickets for 70%. You better have the cash.
Especially if they come to you with a big ticket.
Yeah.
You get some fat winners in there. That's not a bad idea, though. Especially if you're no ID or whatever. Wait a second, you'll give me 70% of this ticket? Yeah. Sign
Get
me
it
up
right.
now.
Yeah.
Because if you're getting, if you got a winning ticket for like 20 mil, 70%, that's plenty of cash to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would work. That's what I need to do. Just hit a ticket like that, and I'll take you with me to go play golf everywhere around the world.
I'd be in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be in. That'd be fine.
And if there's a
do that.
day where you don't feel like playing with me, you can just hang on the.
Yeah, I just hang out
Clubhouse.
on the veranda. But the question is,
veranda.
are we going on your private jet, or are we having to fly? I'm not flying coach with you. It'll be
No,
first class.
No,
right?
no, definitely first class. But
Okay.
after seeing Donovan Klingon show up in the private jet when he came to town for his presser the other day, I wouldn't mind flying a private jet.
Oh yeah, that'd be real fun.
Okay, let's talk Bo Nix. I can't wait for the season to start, and we're getting close now because it's July. Camp's here, and we're just a few weeks away from camp starting to open up, which is going to be nice. Hopefully, Bo Nix does not have a Egypt trip planned sometime around the start of camp. My
Yeah.
guess is he won't. But this is interesting. DNVR, one of the sports stations there in town, they do a phenomenal podcast, and I watch a lot of their stuff to keep up on different Bronco items. They got Kyle Whittingham on. The Broncos have an inordinate amount of former Utes on their roster, so they got Kyle Whittingham on to talk about their roster and talk about some of the different players. And Whittingham, he says that his favorite teams in the NFL are the ones who have the most youths. So the Broncos are one of his favorite teams right now because he likes to follow his former players, and
Sure.
good college coaches will do that. Well, they asked him about Bo Nix, and I respect Kyle Whittingham as much as any football coach in the world. I think he's a
Absolutely.
genius. Had a chance to meet him last year. He's like one of the coolest guys. And then you hear his players talk about him. Like Dwight, they love him.
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they revere him. They respect him, and he's super cool. And I can't think of a coach, his personality, his demeanor, his outdoor lifestyle. It's a perfect match for Utah. And what a great gig that is. I'm not going to go anywhere. You know you can have a job there as long as you want, and you're able to have access to all the beautiful things outdoors that he loves.
He's
It's perfect.
beloved in that community. Oh, man.
Well, as you know, he had a chance to see Bo Nix last year. He saw him the year before. And
He saw quite enough of Bo Nix. I can tell you
back-to-back
that.
years of Bo Nix carving him up.
Yeah.
One year with the one leg, he's out there carving him up. And then last year they went into Utah and Bo Nix just dominated. But here's Kyle Whittingham when asked about Bo Nix. Take a listen.
He is tremendous. He did a number on us this year. He's first of all got that ultimate field general mentality that you want in a quarterback. He is an alpha dog. I don't know him personally, but you can just see it on the field. He exudes leadership, and you can tell that he's got complete command of the whole offense. He is the focal point. All the players rally around him. Just as far as details, his completion percentage is uncanny. You know, he does get the ball out quick, but he gets it out quick and puts it right where it needs to be. I think it was about 80% this past season completion percentage, which is off the charts. I mean, if you can get 65%, you're doing really good. And he's a guy that was completing a bunch of balls. Tough to sack, like you said. That obviously goes hand in hand with getting the ball out quick. He makes such quick decisions, such a quick processor that very very seldom do you have a chance to get home. And he, I don't know Drew Brees. All I did was watch him as from afar. But there's some similarities there. I think Coach Payton is really going to like Bo, and I think he's going to probably find that there's a lot of common ground between him and Drew Brees. Now he's got miles to go before he gets to that level. Obviously, Drew Brees was one of the best to ever do it, but that's the mold that he comes from, in my opinion.
In his opinion. Well, your opinion counts for quite a bit, Coach, because you're very, really smart. But the biggest takeaway here was that, keep in mind, he was talking about former Utes and then was asked about Bo Nix. Bo Nix is not a former Ute, and yet Kyle Whittingham pours on the praise.
He was under no obligation at all to say anything nice about Bo Nix. I mean, but this is the kind of guy he is. He's just being honest. He's telling him what he saw.
That's not Rich Paul talking about LeBron. That's Kyle Whittingham, coach
There's no
of the
conflict
Utes.
of interest there.
No, that's a coach who got lit up 2 years in a row by Bo Nix, talking about the type of player that he sees.
Yeah.
Well, I respect that opinion a lot more than I do from other people because Kyle Whittingham knows football.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it matters more even than what Sean Payton is saying about him right now because Sean Payton has to like him. He drafted him, right? But this guy has no connection to any of that. He's just telling you what he saw.
And he didn't back away from the Drew Brees comparison. He's like, no, there's a lot of similarities there. But again, hearing all the different things you want. Phil General gets rid of the football quick, processes really well, decision-making, accurate, all the different things you want to see from your quarterback.
He touched all the bases with that, I'll tell you.
And Mark Schlereth recently said that if they don't start Bo Nix when the year begins, that he's done with them. He thinks it's ridiculous to even think about starting someone else other than Bo Nix. And I'm pretty much at that point.
Are you?
Yeah. You're going to draft Bo Nix in the first round. You're not going to start him because of Jared Stidham or friggin' Zach Wilson. Sorry, not buying it. Those two guys, no disrespect, of course, but they suck.
No disrespect.
No disrespect.
I love hearing that.
Those guys are
Here
garbage.
comes some disrespect, folks.
Jared Stidham and Zach Wilson, they stink, man. They do. They're bums. And I don't want to hear about those guys getting in before Bobo. Come on now.
The bums.
I just can't wait to see it in action. It's like,
yeah.
But I'm going to sit back and enjoy the whole process. I can't wait for camp to begin because you and I have talked about this, but watching it from day one throughout camp up until the start of the season and throughout the year to watch Bo and to see what type of player he'll be and what type of player he can become and just the progress from game to game hopefully there's progress, but that's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
when you have a really smart coach. And I think Sean Payton believes he's a smart guy. That guy does not lack confidence, but it's going to be fun to watch him working with a guy like Bo Nix, who can accept hard coaching, because Payton's going to expect a lot from him. But Bo can embrace that and deal with it.
Well, I tell you, Oregon Duck fans are going to have a field day on Sundays now, watching their two quarterbacks at spots where they can both really have success.
And twice a year go head-to-head, Nix and
Yeah.
Herbert. I'd rather have Herbert, but let's see what Bo Nix can do out there.
Yeah, you never know.
Gosh, Herbert with Harbaugh. That's sick. That's going to be awesome. All right, Rip City Drive. We got some high fives coming at you next. Oh, Godfather, got this message here from the 503. You just got to find a woman who will accept your advances and can fix stuff. Yeah, there you go. You know what you
Yeah.
need to do for me, Godfather? You
What?
should be my wingman. Just keep an eye out for divorcees or
Out at the club?
Yeah, widowed ladies who like to play golf, who might be lonely.
I think Nancy might. Yeah.
And age doesn't matter to me. So,
Are you sure?
yeah, whatever, man. Hey, honey, I think we should go play golf today. All right, I'm in. If you say so.
Well, we'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, keep an eye out. All right, high fives up next. All right, Godfather. My high five is going to go out to Terry Stotts, former Trailblazers head coach. Is going to be hired on as Steve Kerr's lead assistant with the Golden State Warriors. I think also Jerry Stackhouse is going to be added to his staff as well. So props to Terry.
Yeah, I'm happy for Cherry because I think this is a lot better situation than the Milwaukee one was. I didn't really like that going in. And he's with a veteran head coach. He's with some good players, and he's in a great basketball city right now. I'm happy for him. I think he's going to prosper down there, and that coaching staff's going to get the best out of that team. It's just a question of what that team has left at this point.
Yeah, it's great. You know, Terry Stotts, well respected and has been for years around the league for his offensive acumen. Players like him.
Mhm.
He'll mix well with Steve Kerr, and you get a chance to coach Steph Curry. That does not suck. You get
Yeah.
a chance to work with Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Good for Terry.
Yeah, it's a good spot for him.
That situation in Milwaukee was a mess. Adrian Griffin, that
Yeah.
whole situation, not good.
Yeah, there were people that predicted bad things from the start, in that situation. I think, Terry's a guy, too, that he's well fixed enough. He could have just walked away, and these guys don't do that. They stay in the game, and
It's in their blood, man. They can't stay away. They can't say no.
coach is coach. That's what they do, and they do it all the way to the end.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They don't want to walk away. They want to keep doing it.
He's going to love being down there, too, because he's a guy that likes to get out and walk. He likes, the outdoors a little bit, and it'll be a good place for them to live, I think.
Well, the Bay Area is awesome if you've got the scratch to live in the best neighborhoods.
Right.
Yeah.
And he will. Yeah.
Yeah. Go to Walnut Creek, get set up with a nice crib, and you're dialed in.
Yeah.
It's a perfect scenario. That doesn't suck. One of their assistant coaches lived in the same apartment building I did in Emeryville and would just use easy access to the freeway right there. You get to, the Coliseum real quick, close to the practice facility. So I think that's why they used it. But a lot of players and stuff live up, towards the Walnut Creek area. It's more of a outside of town, easier to get around, good weather. It's really nice up there.
Is there a practice facility in the new arena now? Is that where they are?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I would
either.
assume, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah. I always liked those better. I thought that was, you could use the same locker room all the time. And if you could build it out big enough to do that, I always thought that was preferable.
I mean, that's the way I would do it. If I were owning a team and I was building a brand new arena, I would have everything in one shop.
Yeah, I was surprised when they built Moda Center that it didn't include a practice facility, but they went out and did their own.
I mean, the one in Tualatin's really nice.
It's nice.
Good setup. I like how it's kind of tucked away on a corner, kind of hidden.
Well, they renovated the kitchen. That's all new, and everything's new now, and they've changed the way the media part of it is. But they've also bought the property next door, and I'm sure they have big plans for that, too.
I would imagine. Not tucked away enough to where you still don't find a couple of creepy booger eaters looking for autographs.
What?
Yeah, it came out. It was on. I went over there for exit interview day, and I came out of the facility, and there were. It's always suspicious to me when I see like a middle-aged dude holding his cards, looking for autographs. It's like, get out of here, man! You're a creepo.
No, he's going right from there to eBay to sell them.
Yeah, if it's a young boy who
that's
loves the team and is looking for an autograph, that's cool. But if you're 55 or 60 and you're holding your cards and you look like a booger eater, then I'm immediately calling foul.
Booger eater. What exactly does a booger eater
You know what it looks like. You know what it looks like.
I don't know.
It's the guy. I'll give you a breakdown.
All right.
Dude, 55 to 60 years old, wearing a Trailblazer cap, hair unkept and definitely feathered like it comes from the late 70s, early 80s.
And
potential fanny pack. Definitely unkept from the standpoint that there's probably excessive ear hair or different scraggly hairs around. It's just, you know them when you see them.
Okay.
Hygiene probably not at the top of their priority list.
Well, pardon me if I don't look for them, but.
No, you don't. No one looks for them. You just know it when you see it. There's a lot of things I don't look for. I just run into. I'm like, ugh. Like when I came, I was like, what are you guys doing? What's up with that card? What, you get cards? How old are you? It's just weird to me. Because you know what they're doing. It's like they're not fans. They're looking to.
It's a business. It is. It's a
I
business.
know, but I don't like it.
No, I don't think players do either.
No, because they know what's going on.
Yeah. They're not getting any cut of that.
No. Now, if it's a kid, I've always felt the same way. If you're a player and you don't want to sign Booger Eater's, cards because you know he's going to turn on eBay it, fine.
Well, yeah, but if you're a booger eater, the smart play is to pay some kid $10 to go get everything signed for you.
I know, but they're not smart enough to do that, right?
Oh, okay. That's why they're eating.
That's why they're eating boogers. They're disgusting. So, but if there's a kid that rolls up and wants an autograph, you can't turn that down. If you turn it down, that's a problem.
I agree. That's like catching a foul ball at a baseball game and not giving it to the little kid sitting next to you.
Yeah,
You gotta do that.
or the ball bounces and the loser 55-year-old dude, the booger eater, scrambles to grab the ball away from the boy.
Away from the kid.
Yeah, you're a loser, and you should
that's
get
so
booed for that. I'm
You
a fan.
should.
I'm a big fan of public booing if you do something dumb like that.
Absolutely.